Research Methodology and Data Analysis. Lesson 22. The assumptions required. All processes and procedures must follow certain assumptions to avoid the threat of invalid methodology. For example, if the sampling distribution of your variables does not meet the required assumptions for statistical distribution, then the statistical methods used in the data analysis is invalid. Hence, all conclusion based on statistical test is considered to be invalid. Some of the required assumptions. 1. The population from which the sample is selected is normally distributed. 2. Respondent is randomly selected, no bias in the selection process, and hence it is a representative of the population under study. 3. Respondents are given a wide variety of response choice. The choice of response is from 1, for strongly disagree with the statement, to 10, for strongly agree with the statement. 4. Respondents answer the questionnaire at their own convenience without bias, prejudice, threat, influence, or pressure from any party. The procedure for data analysis. Describe the procedure you plan for data analysis. Explain how you will treat the questionnaires, the checking, editing, coding, and data transcribing. Describe how you will address each individual research question. What variables are you looking for? How these variables provide answers to your research questions. What statistical computations are required? State the types of statistical test you plan to perform. This is important when you have certain hypotheses to prove. What is the limitation of the study? The limitations of the study are those characteristics of design or methodology that impacted or influenced the interpretation of the findings from your research. What is the scope of a study? The scope of the study refers to the boundaries within which your research project will be performed. This is sometimes also called the scope of research. To define the scope of the study is to define all aspects that will be considered in your research project. The scope and limitations of the study. All research studies have limitation in a finite scope. Since the results of your study are not valid for the whole world, not applicable across all industries, not apply to all population, and might not be true under all circumstances, you should think carefully about the scope and limitations of your study. It is irritating to you when someone tells you that your research is not valid under certain conditions, which is within your limitation. How do you write the scope of a study? In writing your scope of study, you need to first reiterate the research problem and its objectives in clearly formulated sentences. You should state the time frame covered by the research in the case of a historical or philosophical research work. The research schedule. Research schedule is a tentative time schedule estimated by a researcher for every activity involved from the beginning until the end. As a researcher, you must be able to estimate in detail how much time you require to complete every activity in every step in your research. This is important to convince the audience that you can complete your study on. Please continue the following lesson. Thank you for watching.